welcome to Cloud.Nine, this Think It Through Thursday. What exactly was being said there? It was actually sung in Zulu, right? It's actually pretty short, but they're repeating the verse. It says, "There's no one like Jesus." That's the Akeho Ofana Nuse. I think I said that right? Yeah, I hope so. There's no one like him. There's no one like Jesus. There's no one like him. And then the verse is, "I have traveled everywhere, no one. I have looked everywhere, no one. I have searched everywhere, no one. There is no one like him." And right now, more than ever, across the world, we really need to lean upon God for wisdom in terms of how we respond to those affected by Hurricane Irma. We're going to focus a lot of our time this afternoon on the aftermath of Hurricane Irma and where it is heading. There was a press conference that was held completed rather about an hour ago in reference to what's being done to prepare Florida and those other states there for the impact of Hurricane Irma. I'll bring you that in just a short while, because I know in Trinidad and Tobago in particular, many people have relatives in those areas. You've been seeing comments on social media, so they will want to know exactly what is being done to prepare for the impact. All right, but first, let's go to our Wise Up segment, and I'm going to take you to a story that we aired a couple days ago. The response on social media has been widespread, and we broke the news here that at that same day actually with Mr. Jagroup, that's the District Field Officer Victoria for tutor. And of course, that is in the context of the San Fernando Central Secondary School and the repair work there. You may know by now, of course, they had to shut the school down due to alleged, well, it's now confirmed, a faulty electrical system, but there's so much more. So let's go to a Wise Up segment. I'll tell you more about the video, and then I'll bring you an update. So for those who haven't seen it or haven't been able to really catch up on the news, the San Fernando Central Secondary School, it has officially closed temporarily to conduct repairs to the school. We got a phone call from a teacher from the school 2 mornings ago about the fact that they did not turn up for school because of an ongoing electrical problem, surges, sparks, and all of that. So they say, "No, we're not going," and rightly so. So we made our way down there to the school to speak to some of the parents, got some very interesting information, and we also have an update for you after. So let's go to that clip now. All right, good morning. So we're here at the San Fernando Central Secondary School. Well, what we're hearing this morning is that school has been dismissed for the day, maybe 2, maybe 3. Because of an electrical problem that they have been experiencing for the past year. Teachers did not show up for school today, and as such, you're going to see parents filtering out of the various car parks, SAPA included, to pick up their children. And it has been a bit of an inconvenience, I'm sure. I'm here with Pastor Mansing. Good morning to you, sir. Your daughter goes to the school. As a parent perspective, how long have you all been hearing about this problem? Because a teacher told me it's been going on for quite a while now.
I heard just a bit about it last term, and I know they have been trying to get it sorted out with no success so far. So unfortunately, some of the children are going home today.
Did they call you on this morning, or well, I guess they did, because...
Well, I want to say my daughter would have called and said a number of her classmates are leaving, there's no electricity and so on, and she asked if I could come for her. So I thought it wise, seeing that so many students are leaving, because I'm uncertain about what is going on.
I'm not sure as to when this will be rectified.
Well, obviously we're not sure, because I know they've been asking to get assistance for it for a little while.
You'll be keeping your daughter home tomorrow? Because you got no word as to what's happening for tomorrow?
No, nothing definite, but we will listen to the news. And I think the principal and the staff have been very cooperative and very, very helpful so far. So I want to commend them for that.
All right, so just to put things into perspective once again, as you can see, we're not going to highlight the children too much, but they're on the compound. Many of them are waiting to go home because of the current situation. As you heard from a couple of the parents already, they're not certain as to what's going to be happening tomorrow, God's willing. They have to wait for the response from the Ministry of Education and, to get some sort of feedback. It is unfortunate because this problem, as you heard, has existed for almost a year, and the call obviously would have taken place this morning, so they have got no word yesterday. You know, so this is it's quite unfortunate. But as you heard, the first parent stated, Pastor Mansing, the teachers, the staff, everyone, they have been very cooperative in trying to get the children home as safely as possible. You understanding tomorrow, or you're gonna wait and see what's happening?
No, well, they didn't give us a reason for saying why school was dismissed.
We're hearing it's an electrical problem. That's what we're hearing.
Okay, well, we didn't know. I asked the lady, the teacher told me that she'll have to write a long list of things for me to tell me what is wrong. So
it could be more than just an electrical problem. It could be more than that.
well, I can't say because.
So are you going to, so based on that, you're not sure you're going to send tomorrow or not?
No, well, I have two children to come to school. One going here and other one in San Fernando. So I have to bring them to school anyway. So I'll come in the morning and see what they say.
I'm just kind of monitoring and just kind of wait and see. Yeah. All right. So that's interesting. So one teacher informed that parent, actually, who's an old schoolmate of mine, that the electrical problem may be just one of several problems that they're experiencing at the San Fernando Central Secondary School. So that's interesting. So we're looking possibly at a myriad of problems taking place at the school at this time.
My daughter called and she said, "Dad, you need to come pick me up." I said, "Why?" There was no information given, and so I proceeded to come to the school. And when I came, I saw everybody out here. We don't know, so I don't know if the release paper would state that or if they give the children information. Look the comment.
One parent just told me that, we found out an electrical problem, but he was also informed that it could be more than that from another teacher. So have you heard anything about this problem last term? Because it's been going on for a while, it would seem.
If it is an electrical problem, I being a licensed electrician, when I came in and I saw the system, it was very shoddy. Panels were overloaded. So I guess it's an issue that they need to treat with. More than likely, that will be the problem.
Wow. So you picked up on that?
Yeah, from the time I walked into the school the first day. I don't know how they plan to maintain it, though. I don't know.
Because it's been going on for almost a year, and I'm like a parent, a teacher told me that, yeah.
Remember, upgrade without systems tend to become problematic, and that is just the issue.
Thank you for your professional opinion as well, sir. I really appreciate that. Thanks. Yeah. So there you have it. Really glad we got that interview there from that parent. So he is saying, and he is a licensed electrician, that based on what he's seeing on the inside when he went to pick up his daughter, the panel boxes are overloaded. So we're dealing with a serious fire hazard here based on what was said by that parent, right? So as that sign says, yeah, it's a very dangerous situation at the San Fernando Central Secondary School. To the Minister of Education, we asked a question this morning. What are we going to do about it? You know why I said we? Because this is a us problem. It's not a your problem. It is not a San Fernando Central problem. It is not a San Fernando problem. It is a us problem because it affects all of us. All right, so that's about it for us here at the San Fernando Central Secondary School. As you can see, we get our cameras back. Parents are, feverishly signing the release book to take their children out of school at this time. We are also going to keep on top of this latest development at the school. As you would have heard, exclusively here right on ACTN Cloud.Nine, an electrician, a licensed electrician, gave his professional opinion that there seems to be an overloading of the panel box at the school. And this has been going on according to teachers who we spoke to for almost a year. So, as I said, this is a us problem. Let's deal with it. All right, so on the line at this time, we have the District Field Officer for Tutor, Mr. Jagrup. We spoke with him a couple of days ago, and he said they're going to give us an update on what's happening with the repairs. A pleasant good afternoon, to you, Mr. Jagrup.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you for joining me again. I want to say thanks, of course, for accommodating us. I know your time is very valuable. So the public wants to know, as I said, many have been asking questions since we had the interview and we had on social media. What's the latest with the repair work at the San Fernando Central Secondary School?
Okay, well, as I said, I haven't spoken to the representative this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, yesterday, a contract was given out to a contractor, and presently, as of this morning, work is ongoing at the school at a pace.
Okay.
Right?
I like the at a pace.
Caution, caution tape around the area, a lot of material and stuff, and work is ongoing at the school as we speak.
Okay, good. Any estimated time? I know when we spoke a couple of days ago, you said about a week. Are we still standing by that week, or it could be less or could be more?
That would depend on what scope of work they would have determined needed to be done.
Okay.
I wouldn't be able to give an estimated time of completion, but that time will come with the inspection, I suppose, by the electrical inspectorate.
Right.
That will give the all clear for the school to be functional.
Right. And let me just turn my attention now to we mentioned another school, I think it was the San Fernando Boys Government. You said there were some issues there as well. Any update with that, or they'll be looking at that as well?
Again, say that work has started at that school today.
Okay.
And so that is ongoing. But that school is riddled with a number of problems in terms of infrastructure. So we'll wait to see what transpires there.
And as for now, children, the boys are still going to school, even though work has started, or, you know?
Well, I would anticipate that the school ought to be dismissed because work can be going on while, you know what I mean, the children are on the compound.
And how do you feel, personally? Are you satisfied with the response you've seen thus far? Since the story has been highlighted, are you satisfied?
Well, I would have to say I'm satisfied that the work has started.
Right. Good.
But again, the disappointment is that why did it take the teachers having to take such drastic action to have the work started?
And that seems
because
to, yeah.
both these schools would have been earmarked, I understand, for repairs during the vacation period.
And even before that, because I know in Mudsec, well, we call it Mudsec, well, San Fernando Central, this problem, actually, my younger sister-in-law, my sister-in-law rather, she goes to that school, and she said it's a few years well living having issues with electrical.
Yeah, this is the thing, and you see the teachers apparently would have been operating in good faith, thinking that, you know, things would happen in good time.
Right.
But as I said, it's a pity that teachers are forced to take these drastic measures to have the problems addressed.
It seems to be the modus operandi in Trinidad and Tobago. Unless if you don't protest, you don't get redress.
Well,
it isn't addressed.
Is a pity.
Well, I want to thank you very much for the update. I'm sure the public appreciates it, and even more so the parents and the students of the various schools appreciate it.
I hope communication would have been given out to the parents of the students concerned in both schools.
All right, well, I'm glad you said that on air, so I guess I will just re-emphasize it, that it should make sure and contact the parents in light of the update. So thank you very much, and all the best, and thank you for the good work. Thank you, sir.
Thanks again.
All right, that's Mr. Bevel Jagroup.
He is the district field officer rep for tutor as well in the Victoria area, and you would have heard it here on Cloud.Nine that the work has officially begun, but in the capacity of examining, I guess, you know, they're going to do their assessment today to determine, you know, where they need to begin and how much the scope of the work. But material is already on the compound from what it was indicated, as well as they've put caution tape around the area. All right, so we cannot say at this point in time how long the repair work would take. Minimal, they were saying a week. We are hoping it stays within that time frame because, again, the children and their education, I mean, it will be affected very early in the term. All right. It is a very important point in terms of correspondence. So outside of what we're doing here, we are hopeful and we are calling on the officials at the school to please ensure that the student body, in terms of their parents, are contacted to let them know what's happening. My thing is, don't wait for, you know, to listen on the news to hear what's happening. Please take that responsibility and try and contact as much as possible, and then I guess you could relay the information accordingly. All right, in terms of the San Fernando Boys Government Primary School, we also received information as well just a short while ago that repair work to that school has already begun. It started today. Actual work has begun because they did the assessment already, I would assume. We're not sure if it's done on a phase basis. From what you understand, well, it's infrastructural work. So unlike, well, we're not sure exactly if any walls and stuff have to be broken down at Mudsec. But in this school, there was issues with the roofing and the walls and so forth. So more than likely the boys are not at school. So they've started work there. I believe it's on a phase basis as well. We'll give you more of an update on that later on. So, thanks to Jack Group for speaking with us on Cloud.Nine and providing you, the public, with the update to these two schools in South Trinidad. So, I want to thank you very much and all the best to them at Tutor. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we turn our attention now to Hurricane Irma.
The devil's the accuser of the brethren. And he hates marriage because marriage is the image of God. He hates marriage because it's the most sacred institution on earth. God created marriage in Genesis chapter 1. It is the first institution he ever created, and it's the foundation for every other institution on earth. And he's a strategist. He understands if he can destroy marriage, he can destroy all of society.
Back, so we now jump into our Let's Chat segment. We're going to move from our lovely, very well organized education system. Couldn't say much more after that. Just well organized system. To another system, referring to Hurricane Irma. I have some images I want to show guys. So it's up on the screen, so when you get a chance, we can punch it up. But let me give you a quick update out of Puerto Rico, which I believe recorded the first, this is as why I think, yeah, which recorded the first set of deaths in relation to Hurricane Irma. Let me just read some information here. Fearsome Hurricane Irma cut a path of devastation across the northern Caribbean, leaving at least 10 dead and thousands homeless after destroying buildings and uprooting trees on a track Thursday that could lead to a catastrophic strike on Florida. And I'll give you that update from the press conference coming up shortly. All right? Right, so let me just continue here, right? The agency also reported major damage to houses and commercial buildings in the British Virgin Islands. On St. Thomas in the nearby U.S. Virgin Islands, Laura Strickling, that's someone there, spent 12 hours hunkered down with her husband and one-year-old daughter in a boarded-up basement apartment with no power as the storm raged outside. They emerged to find the lush island in tatters. Many of their neighbors' homes were damaged and once dense vegetation was largely gone. So there are some, I know someone stated that, in the U.S. Virgin Islands, it has literally been flattened. Hear what I'm saying, eh? It has literally been flattened, right? Now, the most potent Atlantic Ocean hurricane ever, Irma, weakened only slightly on Thursday morning, that's this morning, and remained a powerful Category 5 storm with winds of 180 miles per hour, according to the U.S. National Hurricane Center. The storm was increasingly likely to rip into heavily populated South Florida early Sunday, prompting the governor to declare an emergency and officials to impose mandatory evacuation. Get this, mandatory. These are some images. Let me just pause for a second. Images from the British Virgin Islands and Tortola. All right, I will just kind of scroll through. This is another one. All right. Another one again. Remember, keep them in your prayers, please. Another one. The coastline. And let's get this off here. And another one coming up. Of course, if you go on social media, you're going to see all of these images. All right? I'm going to read this last part here, and then I'm going to go to our video of that press conference in terms of preparation for Florida. French Interior Minister Gerard Collomb told France Info Radio that 8 had died and 23 injured in the country's Caribbean island territories. And he said the toll on St. Martin and St. Bartholomew could be higher because rescue teams have not yet to finish their inspection of the islands. He said, quote, "The reconnaissance will really start at daybreak." At a news conference, he also said that 100,000 food rations have been sent to the islands, the equivalent of 4 days of supplies. It's a tragedy. We'll need to rebuild both islands. Most of the schools have been destroyed. French President Emmanuel Macron's office said he will go to the islands as soon as weather condition permits. At this time, let's go to that press conference, which was completed about an hour ago, as to what's being done to prepare for Hurricane Irma.
Good morning. First off, I want to thank everybody that's standing up here because they're all concerned about the safety of all the citizens of this of our state. I just had a briefing with the emergency management officials here in Miami-Dade County. Right now, the National Hurricane Center is reporting that Hurricane Irma remains a dangerous and life-threatening Category 5 storm with winds of 180 miles per hour. Category 5, 180 miles per hour. Based on what we now know, Miami-Dade will have major hurricane impacts with deadly storm surge, and life-threatening winds. We can expect this all along the entire East Coast. The Florida Keys should be prepared to start feeling the effects of the storm as early as tomorrow night. Look at the size of this storm. It's huge. It is wider than our entire state and could cause major and life-threatening impacts on both coasts, coast to coast. Regardless of which coast you live on, be prepared to evacuate. Floridians on the West Coast cannot be complacent. Just because models show going along the East Coast, the West Coast will still have hurricane conditions, and these storms can move and change. Remember, Hurricane Andrew is one of the worst storms in the history of Florida. This is much worse and more devastating on its current path. Irma has already caused multiple fatalities. This storm is powerful and deadly. We already have people in the Caribbean that have passed away and died. We are being very aggressive in our preparation for this storm, and every Floridian, every family should take this seriously and be aggressive. You've got to protect your family. Possessions can be replaced, your family cannot. This is serious, and we cannot take chances. It is life-threatening. This is not a storm you can sit and wait through. One of our top priorities right now is fuel availability. We know there are problems with supply at gas stations and are working around the clock to get fuel to you. Last night I spoke with all the fuel retailers, and I just got off the phone just a couple minutes ago with the oil companies. I've been very clear to the retailers and the oil companies that we have to know that we have to get the fuel as fast as we can out so everybody has the fuel to evacuate. We need to know exactly what their needs are so we can solve their needs. The issues include fuel availability from our ports, federal rules and regulations, and getting fuel through traffic to gas stations. To address these concerns, we're doing the following. I've spoken to FEMA, the Department of Energy, EPA, and the White House about waiving federal rules and regulations to get as much fuel possible into our state and through our ports. I've directed state law enforcement to provide escort services to gas trucks to get through traffic so they can get to the stations faster. One of the issues is getting from the ports to the stations so they can put the fuel there and then get back and get more. Right after this, I'll be talking to all the fuel distributors. We know fuel is very important, and we're absolutely devoting every state resource to addressing this, and we're talking to the federal government about their support. While we're making progress, you will see lines or outages, unfortunately. I know this has to be very frustrating, and we will not stop working on this. If you're concerned that you do not have a way to evacuate because of a fuel issue, please call 1-800-955-5504, 1-800-955-5504, which is a dedicated transportation hotline. If you're in an evacuation area and you don't know how to get out, we will get you out, but you've got to call us. If you are, call us now. Do not wait. If you're in an evacuation area, do not wait to get out. We're not going to be able to save people once the storm hits. If you know you're going to a shelter in your county, please take only the fuel you need. You don't need to fill your tank to the brim to stay in your own county. I've said many times that you have to take what you need, and we've got to be considerate to try to get as many people the fuel they need. The Gas Buddy app is a great resource to find open stations with fuel. Yesterday, I asked the governors of Alabama, South Carolina, and Georgia and North Carolina to rescind weight and driver regulations so out-of-state resources can move expeditiously into Florida. All of these states worked quickly to respond to our request, and we now have waivers from Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, and North Carolina. I've also spoken to the U.S. Department of Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao, and they have lifted federal regulations to get gas to Florida quickly. All ports still remain open and operating to bring fuel and supplies in. We are laser focused on how we get as much fuel as possible to our ports while they are open. I've offered school buses for transportation needs in Monroe, Miami-Dade, and Broward counties. At this time, Miami-Dade is using these services to help evacuate those with special needs, and Broward has buses on standby. Monroe has said they do not need these buses right now, but our offer still stands. Right now, there is mandatory evacuation order in effect for the Florida Keys. This means all residents and all visitors. I was down there yesterday doing everything we can to make sure citizens can get out. We estimate there are about 31,000 people have already evacuated from the Keys as of 6 p.m. last night. If you're in the Keys and do not have a way out, 1-800-955-5504. But do not wait. If you're in the Keys and still home, leave and get out. We can't save you after the storm starts. You're going to have hurricane, unbelievable wind, and storm surge. The entire Lower Keys Hospital has been evacuated. All other hospitals of the Keys will be evacuated today. I've been very clear with Monroe County that the state will provide whatever resources are necessary to get the hospitals back open quickly following the storm. I went through Andrew, and that was an issue of getting hospitals back open. We also have a task force devoted entirely to helping prepare and respond to the Keys. For the remainder of the state waiting on evacuation orders, listen to your local officials. They will tell you if and when your area needs to be evacuated. If you're told to evacuate, get out quickly. The roads will fill up quickly, so you need to go. We're already starting to see a significant increase in the number of people on our roads. We're doing everything we can to keep them open. We can expect additional evacuations as the storm continues to get nearer to our state. Miami-Dade has ordered mandatory evacuation for Zone A and Zone B. If you live in these zones and you're still home, leave now. Don't wait. The roads are going to get worse the longer you wait. There are voluntary evacuations being ordered in Collier County. Broward County has issued voluntary evacuations of mobile homes and low-lying areas. I cannot stress enough. Do not ignore evacuation orders. Remember, we can rebuild your home, you can get your possessions again, but you can't get your life back. Regardless of which coast you live on, be prepared to evacuate. This storm can change. Right now, the track is on the East Coast. It can change. Floridians on the West Coast cannot be complacent. Traffic. I know many of you are in traffic. I know it's frustrating, but please be patient. Real-time traffic information and evacuation routes are available at fl511.com. We're watching all that, and we're going to do everything we can to keep these roads open. We have traffic cameras on every major roadway in the state and are clearing traffic issues real time so we can keep people moving. FDOT and law enforcement are working diligently. We're already seeing bottlenecks at major highway junctions, which brings up an important point. You do not need to evacuate out of the state or hundreds of miles away to stay safe. Find shelters in your county. We are coordinating with Google's emergency response team to prepare to close roads in Google Maps in real time in the event that Hurricane Irma forces the closure of any roads in the aftermath of the storm. So you'll know if a road's closed. At my direction, all tolls have been waived across Florida roadways. This should help families evacuate quickly and safely. Again, if you're concerned that you do not have a way to evacuate, 1-800-955-5504. We will do all we can to get you out, but do not wait. National Guard. Today I'm activating another 3,000 National Guardsmen to help with shelter operations and evacuations. Today we will have more than 4,000 Florida National Guard members activated to immediately begin assisting with ongoing Hurricane Irma preparation. These men and women are putting themselves in harm's way to save the lives of their fellow Floridians. We can never thank them enough for all they do to keep us safe, both in their service to our nation abroad and in their response to emergencies like Hurricane Irma at home. Let's remember, they're helping us while many of their own families are planning on they're going to have to evacuate. After the storm hits, they will work with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission on search and rescue operations. National Guard members will also be assisting utility companies following the storm as they respond to return power to homes and businesses. 13 helicopters and more than 1,000 tactical high water vehicles are on standby, ready to be deployed. By using resources from other states, we also have 30,000 troops, 4,000 trucks, 100 helicopters, and air evacuation crews ready to support our state. I talked to both President Trump and Vice President Pence yesterday, and they have offered the full resources of the federal government to support us. We've requested the following: tarps, water, baby food supplies, supply trucks, search and rescue personnel, and equipment and incident management teams. We've also submitted several requests to the U.S. Department of Defense for readiness and post-storm response. We've asked for military watercraft and aircraft with the capability to move fuel from the mainland to Keys at Marathon. Personnel, resources, and National Guard that were federalized to respond to Texas anybody that responded to Texas have now been demobilized to come to Florida to assist us if we need them. We've asked for a military vessel like a Marine or Navy ship to sustain shuttle operations and complete ship-to-shore missions. This vessel will allow us to move crews, supplies, and fuel to the mainland. I mentioned the major concerns with the Florida Keys regarding any potential destruction of bridges. They have over 50 bridges down there. If you lose one bridge, it isolates everybody south of there. If we lose a bridge, people are going to clearly be stranded. FEMA is looking at options to assist with the state with this. I've also discussed that with the White House. I've discussed the importance with FEMA about the need to help every hospital get up and running when the storm passes. The federal government has also pre-positioned medical support personnel and disaster medical assistance teams, and they're en route to Florida. These rapid response teams aid in the provision of medical care to those who need it after the storm. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission is preparing search and rescue teams for potential deployment. FWC has more than 200 officers standing by for the first wave of response based on potential storm impacts. 30 teams with supporting resources such as trucks, coastal and river patrol boats, ATV, and shell draft boats are preparing for evacuation support, search and rescue missions, or any additional needs. FWC was also coordinating with partners in states like Texas, Georgia, South Carolina, Missouri, Tennessee, Louisiana, and Arkansas in case additional officers or resources are needed. The Florida Highway Patrol is monitoring road and traffic conditions to ensure roadways are clear. Our roads remain clear, and there are no major problems so far on our roads. FDLE has established 18 emergency response teams for deployment to impacted areas and 7 logistics and planning teams. Utility providers. They're actively pre-positioning resources throughout the state and in neighboring states. We know from previous storms how incredibly important it is for power to be restored quickly. It's going to be very important to get this power back on quickly. FP&L has activated its emergency response plan and has thousands of workers preparing to respond to Irma. I know they're one of the largest providers in the state. They're also working with out-of-state utilities and electrical contracting companies to secure additional resources. They have opened more than 20 staging sites throughout the service area where restoration crews, trucks, and equipment are stationed. Lake Okeechobee. Water levels in Lake Okeechobee are still being lowered, and the lake is currently at 13.67 feet. but we still do. At this point, we do not have major concerns about the dike. We will immediately advise if any of that changes. Shelters. If you're evacuating for the Keys, you can shelter at Florida International University. There's absolutely no reason for anyone not to evacuate if you're ordered to do so. Shelters are available, and you should follow the directions of local officials to go to the shelter that fits your needs. If you need a hotel, go to Expedia.com/Florida. Expedia is working on hotel occupancy in real time. The Florida restaurant and lodging industry has encouraged all hotels to waive pet policies, offer shelter, and be compassionate with cancellations. Families can go to floridadisaster.org/info to learn where shelters are in their area. Comcast. They're opening more than 137,000 free Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspots throughout the state for individuals in need, including non-Comcast members. You can find these hotspots at xfinity.com/Wi-Fi. AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, they're all helping with hotspots. The state is staging supplies such as meals, shelter support, trailers, and water at the State Logistics Resource Center in Central Florida for deployment as needed. And FEMA has resources in Alabama. We are pre-positioning these goods to help everyone in the storm's path. We need volunteers. We've had more than 6,800 volunteers sign up in 24 hours. So thank you for that. This includes more than 1,000 state employees. This is great. We need more. We need a total of 17,000 volunteers statewide. You can go to volunteerflorida.org to sign up for volunteer opportunities. Or you can call 1-800-FL-HELP-1. 1-800-FL-HELP-1. We need more volunteers. They make a big difference in emergencies and help with shelters, food distribution, and response efforts. State office. State offices in Miami-Dade, Monroe, Broward, Lee, Glades, Hendry, Okeechobee, Martin, Charlotte, and St. Lucie are closed today until further notice. Every Florida family must prepare to evacuate regardless of the coast you live on, regardless of which coast you're on. We are 100% focused on making sure Floridians and visitors have timely information on this storm, and we will continue to closely monitor Hurricane Irma and issue updates throughout the next few days. Cada familia tiene que tomar este huracán en serio. Tienen que tener un plan, 3 días de agua, alimentos y las medicinas que necesiten. Como gobernador, mi prioridad es que todos en la Florida estén seguros. Be glad to answer any questions anybody has. So I've been talking to the Corps. I've been talking to the Corps every day. The Corps right now, Colonel Kirk is in Tallahassee along with General Holland that is out of Atlanta. They've done inspections. It's at 13.68, which is good right now. We can take a lot more water right now. The big risk they have there, of course, is if you get too much water. And it looks like, so far, something can change. This storm is moving fast, which means we will not get the same sort of rain that Texas got. Now, that can all change, but that's the biggest risk on the dike at Okeechobee is too much rain. That's why they're lowering levels. We're doing the same thing with the canals through the South Florida Water Management District. So we're trying to make sure, to the extent that we get a lot of rain, and the issue with Miami-Dade is not just the rain, it's the storm surge. The canals are going to be as low as we can get them. So if something changes, we're going to tell you. But we're at 13.68, and we can take a lot more right now. Well, it's gotten to 18.67 or something without anything happening. They constantly do inspections. They'll even do more detailed inspections when it hits 17 feet. But at 13.68 feet, they can take a lot of water right now. So the biggest risk would be if for whatever reason it just sat here and dumped rain. That's their concern. Their concern is not the wind right now. Yep. So Turkey Point will of course be closed at the right point, I've been talking to FP&L. They're all prepared to do it. We're preparing both to close it and how to reopen it. The big issue on reopening it is we've got to have the evacuation zone completely clear So we've worked a plan with the National Guard and with FDOT to make sure that when it's ready to close, first off, that's FP&L, but it's also going to be ready to reopen. Let's remember, we've got to survive this storm, and then we got to get back. So if we close a hospital, I went through this back in Andrew, it's work to get them reopened. So we're ready, we're going to prepare, we're going to try to keep everybody safe, we're going to recover everybody, and then we're going to get everybody back to work as quickly as we can. And we're thinking about all of them.
You know, one of the things that struck me that you said, and it's something that we can apply to ourselves here in the event that something like this happens. When you said that, listen, at the end of the day, I mean, they're very thorough. Give the U.S. that when it comes to this, because again, number one, it comes to experience. So, this is like, in terms of preparations, like clockwork. You know what I mean? But he made the point that, we are putting so many things in place for you that we cannot assist or we cannot help you when the hurricane hits. So he's advising everyone to take heed, get to a shelter if you have to. They are putting things in place because we cannot help you when the hurricane hits. Now, I know some Trini people. They would stay in their comfort zone if something like this happens. And then the aftermath now, when everything is destroyed, or let's say there's loss of life, or certain things, they'll want to say, well, no one helped me during. And I made the point because I've seen it even when we have, and I'm saying that, and here why I'm saying that. When we had the recent storm, it wasn't even a storm. We just got the after effects. But basically when we had that tropical depression and what happened in Trinidad and Trinidad more so, but and Tobago, there are people who were liming. Normal as we say. And they just had no concern. Now if something had happened while they were out there and something fell or something happened, somebody would have found some creative way to blame the government and to blame ODPM. And to blame this one when you were the one that did not secure yourselves and your property and go, as the case may be. So at the end of the day, I am really pleading with nationals. If, we're praying it doesn't, but if we end up in the path of a hurricane, please heed the advice of the ODPM and other local agencies and do what you have to do. All right? Because we'll get a rude awakening when this whole God is a Trini statement we love to make. Telling you. Because we say God is a Trini, but we take God for granted. So let's just do the right thing. And that's why I like what he said. And he said it because people expect it. I'm being honest. People expect that during the hurricane that we say is for much hours, or like in the case of Houston where, things have been, rainfall was going to like about 2 weeks. So they're expecting during that 2 weeks, what? You must be there at my doorstep. Hello. It ain't going to be that easy during. So just do the right thing. Because these things can last for a couple of days. It can last for a couple of weeks in the case in Houston. So be mindful. This is a lesson for us to learn here in Trinidad and Tobago as well. Because again, we're going to get a rude awakening. All right. Let's take a break. Come back. I'm going to show you some more images of what took place in the last few days, particularly in Puerto Rico. And then we're going to wrap things up on Cloud.Nine today. Welcome back. So I just want to quickly show, because I wish I could have shown you more pictures, but I want to show you this before and after. Just to tell you how, anyhow, heed the warnings that God is sending. Look at this image here. This is a before shot. This is actually, it looks like a beach house. Well,
all intents and purposes, the road going down to yeah, it looks like it's a beach house or an area. It looks like probably like a sort of a beach restaurant kind of thing going on. Well, yeah, beach resort it would seem. So this is before I seen the cars there, you know, really nice and everything, and this was after. Yeah. Half of the road gone. I don't know how much of the resort gone. And if there were cars there at the time, they gone too in the ocean. And again, because, and we need to see these images, because if we ever get a warning like that, do not try to play hero and stay in your comfort zone. People of Trinidad and Tobago, this is a warning. All right. So I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Thanks of course, to Mr. Bevel Jagroup, the field officer for the Victorian District, who gave us that live update right here on Cloud.Nine. You heard it here first about the school repairs at San Fernando Central. They are currently doing a site. They brought material down, and they're assessing the work, and work should start sometime later today. All right, so again, thanks to him. We'll keep you updated on that as the days and weeks progress. We're going to close things off right now. That'll be Inspired Song for today. And just remember, amidst everything that you're going through, God is awesome.